standard instruments, civic instruments for all citizens. You have a Republican form of government. This is not a democracy. The democracy are the slaveholders. You'll not see that written in the Constitution because it does not exist in law. It's a fiction. What it represents is the Albion or European nations who set subversives in this order to overthrow the United States Republic without firing a gun. And so when you hear politicians start talking about our republic, our democracy, understand that he's probably a Knights Templar. Knights of Columbus. They're the financial collectors for the Ku Klux Klan. And that's the code word. When you hear them say democracy, that's the code word. Now, may I have a Constitution book, please? We have them up here. No, keep this because mine. Now, those of you who have your Constitution books, turn to Article 4, Section 4. Can you read that out? Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution for the Republic, United States, North America, Central.
Section 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a Republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence.
Do you see anything that starts with a D that says democracy? Now that's the Constitution for governance of these United States. So when a politician says to you, democracy, and you don't object, from a political position, you just waived your rights. You didn't know it was that subtle, did you? You're looking at other substance, aren't you? You're looking at attitudes, what they may do, and it has nothing to do what they do. They set up a false platform, you agree to it, then you start negotiating with them on that false platform, and they got you from day one because they got a marked debt. That's correct. And so law doesn't apply because they're not dealing with law. And remember, Constitution does not interfere with your right to make contract, does it? Now do you understand why the Constitution does not abolish slavery except for those who agree to be a part of that Constitution? And then once they end it, they can't reinstitute it? Do you understand? But they in their own governments must agree to disband it. So in order to satisfy European slaveholders and in order to satisfy the Asiatics so they wouldn't rebel after the Civil War, they instituted the artificial person construct, which is called the 14th Amendment, where they took the code Negro, which is a brand, and they took some quote-unquote assigned black leaders such as Frederick Douglass and others who had airs of credibility, and then they capitalized these adjectives, Negro and black, which means the same thing. Latin is black, negro. Black is Middle English, started in about the 12th century, between the 12th and the 15th century, which is negro. And so negro and black are identical, and they really mean troglodyte, nigger, monkey. That's what it means. That's what nigger means. We're talking about scientifically, not opinion. All right? So understand its origin. So it is outside of the human family, so human rights don't apply to it. But you must agree to be it. And once you agree, you're had. Because then the Negro Black Codes of 1724, established by the church and issued from the church for governance of the defeated Moors from the Franciscan Brotherhood of the Knights Templar to govern these niggers, was issued. And it has about 54 articles in harmony with what? 5 and 4 is 9, 9 months of man's birth in the womb of woman. Then they reverse the polarity by putting the masculine principle on divine laws of nature, which is only feminine. And then we're twisted. Then we started worshiping all the idol gods and the different versions of the holy Prince James, who we call King James, who plundered and robbed the ancient scripts and translated them into the Angles. And then, after they murdered all the prophets, they used the prophet's name to perpetrate their fraud, and the world bought it. And so they have the sign, they have a crown, and they have a cross stuck through it. And they have in hoc signo vince. And that means in this sign, we conquer. And so you got all these Asiatics knowing that the Nazarene, who was of their same bloodline, had hair like lamb's wool and skin like burnished brass, as if burnt in the oven. And they got a Roman sitting up there. And they know that he was a rabbi of the highest level of the crystalline mind of the Essene Brotherhood, Jew. And they lied on him, said that he established Christianity and that he brought it to the earth under a cloud of glory with the cross. And they all know that he came in the sign of Pisces and brought the sign of the fish. And they lied on him, and they murdered him and been murdering our people the same way, and they still don't put two and two together. And now, because this is a long war, don't think that this thing just began. It didn't really just begin. The war between the Moors and the Romans are really ancient. They come from the Punic Wars, on up to the Crusades, on up to the Battle of Poitiers, near Tours, near Poitiers, France, 1812 on Lake Michigan, and then our final fall. They call the Spanish War, which is really Louisiana territory, not Spain on the other side. And then they divided us, called the Trail of Tears, took all the children from the mothers, murdered all those who had the culture, then branded us Negro, black, and colored, and told us they brought us here on ships. And we lost not only our identity, lost our consciousness that we're absolutely connected to this land, absolutely indigenous, although we ain't Indians, so some people call us that. So you must understand when in history, when they say Indian and black or Moor, they're all relative, except the black and Indian are misnomers. Moor is the true identity. Yes, Spanish, well, Philip II, Pope Philip II, in 1511, issued a bull, which is like a political edict, having the power, because the church is also, a political power. Issued a bull that the Moors would no longer be called Moors, but they would be called Spaniards. And that's how the language became to be known as Spanish, which it is not. It's Moorish Latin in multiple dialects. And so you have Moors who think that they came from Kemet on the other side, although we're the same bloodline. That's not our home. Our home is here. That's what Malcolm found. That's what that French Muslim told Malcolm when Malcolm made the Hajj, and he began to realize that enemy was on both sides. So when he visited Mecca, he wasn't visiting home, he left home. He knew then it was over. We're walking all around the world calling himself black Muslim. And Muslim is no different than a fetus. A fetus is anything that is born with muscles and tissues, electrical from nature. It's not a religion. It is the nature of your makeup, your absolute natural makeup from the divine creator, your mom. And now that's the real truth. But people can't handle the truth. They don't want the truth. And so we're in darkness, which is why they call us black people. And so they deal with us with black codes and black law. And of course we get offended, but I need you to know that that license is an important instrument for that regulation of those objects. And you're looked at as energy objects, no different than they look at a battery. And so everything that they measure us by is by energy output. Dealing with the very same principle that you deal with electricity, the movement of current, amperage, wattage, etc., resistors, transistors, etc. And so when they're talking of you and they're looking at you and they're dealing with you on these principles. And a license is an instrument used to do just like that. It's like the street's passage to regulate the movement. Dial it up and dial it down. And they don't have to touch you, and they can regulate your economy and rob you every day, and you think you have money. So you can have, like, say, for instance, if you were packed in your pockets right now, the sisters had in their pocketbooks right now, them greenbacks stuffed to the gills. They can't even zip it. They feel secure, wouldn't they? Huh? I'm right or wrong? Brother and sister, they're busting their keisters, right? Trying to get this together. They think they're secure. Don't you know that overnight, they can just shift the books and that you have 50 cents in your pocket?